You don't need all that.
That's four.
Hey, sis. You don't need this whole thing open here. Hey, sis. What's going on? What's going on with ya? Hey, what's up, sis? I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. Chilled. I'm doing all right, though. How you been? Okay, I feel you. I feel you, honey. I'm ready for the school to be over, okay? Yeah. Hey, everybody that's coming in. Thank you, sis. It's just a little bundle, you know, a little bun. messy bun. Thank you, though. I had to brush it up, though. It's kind of looking a little rough earlier. Looking a little rough. Have y'all seen the movie? Because we definitely going to be diving in it tonight. I thought I heard something. And then where's the remote? I definitely need to turn this down a little bit. Y'all seen the movie? Have anybody seen Sinners yet? Let me get this remote right quick too. I thought I had it. You haven't seen it yet. Sis, you got to see it. It's good though. It's gonna be some spoilers in this live. If you don't want to watch it. But other than that, it's just gonna be, the information I haven't yet, but I don't mind spoilers. I'm seeing it on Mother's Day with my mom and sister. Okay. Right. See which way it's going, get a little spoilers. Peace to everybody coming on. Peace, Sears. Where you at? All right. But yeah, we gonna dive deep in this movie. And, we gonna break it down. We gonna decode it. And we gonna gain the ultimate message. Peace, bro. What's goody? Alright? What's good with you? But yeah, we gonna get the ultimate message at the end. But we gonna break this bitch down. Okay? So yeah. I guess get your popcorn, something to sip or whatever, some water, Kool-Aid juice, whatever. And let's dive deep, y'all. I was trying to give, everybody time to watch it though, but it's one of those movies, It's up there. It's really, to me, to be honest, very surface information. Peace, sis. Very surface information. I mean, like, at this point of our journey, we should be understanding a lot of, information, especially when it comes to these movies. And just, understanding the divine message between it all. And it definitely had a lot. Okay? It had a lot of symbolism in it. Twists and turns. I mean, it's a lot of wisdom in this movie too. But the ultimate message is very simple and very surface. It's stuff that we've actually encountered in the last, in some years now. So we kind of know what's up when it comes to vibration and frequency. All right. So I'm going to break down the characters, and then we're going to get into the colors and all the kind of that, because all of that was very heavy in this movie. Very heavy in this movie. And it can be a little, misunderstood from a certain level. But yeah, it was a good one. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Sinners, I suggest you. It's a good movie. It's a good dive. Um, Something to gain some information. Peace, bro. Some confirmation. Some wisdom. You know, some eye-opening factors. To many. But it was actually a good movie. So yeah, we're gonna get into the characters, and then we're gonna dive deep into the colors and everything else that was connected in this movie, and we're gonna gain the divine message at the end. All right, and peace to everybody coming on. If I don't see y'all, peace to everybody. But yeah, for one, Michael B. Jordan. Okay, he plays the twins. All right, his twin self, which is definitely very simple to see, what it is when it comes to self versus self. The twin factor, the twin flames, the yin yang. So one twin is smoke. All right. Peace, sis. Peace. One twin name is Smoke, okay, and he wears blue. All right. Blue can represent air, wind, breath, or spirit. Okay, frequency as well. All right, or energy. Okay. The other twin name is Stack. All right, and he's in red. Okay, he has a red cap. All right, a red hat. We know that red is symbolic to the root. All right, our foundation, where our soul resides. Okay. Okay, that inner authentic self. Okay, your inner self. All right, my baby, and even the heart. All right. So we got Smoke and Stack. Okay, the yin and the yang. Say peace, everybody. But yeah, that yin and that yang. Okay, and you can see yin and yang not only in just black and white, but in blue and red. Okay. And they use this a lot in movies when it comes to your higher self and your lower self. All right? A self versus self. Then we got Sammy. All right? And to me, Sammy is the consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the tune, the force to be reckoned with. All right? All right? He's the motion to all of this. At the beginning of the movie, he's coming in from a disaster, some tragic situations, and he's going right into the church. Okay, and we're gonna get back to the church. Okay, and what the church actually represents. Okay, all right. So he's the Christ conscious to me, the tune. All right, the force to be reckoned, the motion. All right, the frequency. All right. Then we got Mary. Okay. And they just happen to have Mary as a white woman. All right. And I kind of connected Mary to like the illusion of the Virgin Mary, right? All right. The mother. Okay. But very despiteful, very thirsty. Okay. and very distracting, okay, to Stack, okay? All right? And she ends up biting Stack as well, okay? But we'll get into that in a minute. When it comes to these vampires, all right? Then we got Annie, which is the voodooist, you know, the one that knows the magic, the one that does the ritual, okay? And Annie really represents that divine energy, okay? I mean, spiritually and this physical experience, she's protecting the twins, okay? She speak over them. That's a ritual in itself, okay? Speaking is a ritual, all right? Whatever you speak about, okay, it's a ritual within itself, all right? So she was pretty much the voodooist, you know, the witch doctor in the town, all right? She's that divine energy, okay? And the divine energy protects physically and spiritually, okay? That's like the divine mother, all right? She carries a lot of power as well in this movie when it comes to these rituals and using the magic, okay? Peace, peace, sis. Jen, you got to move. Get up on out of here. Okay, we go that way. You crawled over here, you got to crawl back. Go. Don't worry about it. Just go, mama. I don't care. No, leave that right there. Girl, go. I'm going to take that. What's mine? I don't have nothing. I ain't got no paper. I ain't got nothing. No, you're not getting anything over here. Move. My bad, y'all. But yeah, you know, so energy, you know, she carry a lot of power. Okay. And then there's Remick, okay, which is the vampire. Okay. He's the one that's the virus. He's contagious. He carries the virus. All right. Okay. And what does a virus do? It imitates. Okay. And it takes over the cells. All right. So Remick is a vampire. All right. We know vampires to be blood-sucking characters. Okay. When in reality, it's really something is really anything that is pulling energy from you. Okay. It's sucking energy from you. All right. And it's what you put your energy into. Even if it's something that you're passionate about, you put all your energy into that. Okay? It comes with the good and it comes with the bad. All right? So there's going to be negative energy that's going to pull from you. Okay? Then there's going to be this positive energy to make you keep going forward or keep going. Okay? So there's a vampire in every situation, especially in thoughts. Okay? Okay? Peace, peace, fam. What's good, bro? Okay? But there are people that can be vampires too. All right? And that means they just use your energy. They suck your energy, okay? And they might not be conscious aware of that. All right? I mean, we all do that towards each other. But you have to have boundaries, okay, when it comes to, you know, connecting to one's energy, okay? All right? Okay. I'm getting there. But yeah, okay. So Remick, I had to look up his name, okay, because I wanted to understand what do Remick means, and it kind of caught me with the REM, okay, REM at the beginning, okay. So I wanted to break the name down, and if you break down Remick name, okay, you got the REM, which is the conscious, okay. All right, yeah, people are vamps, some vamps out here now, okay. They don't even use your energy in moderation. They want to suck it dry. Okay? Take all of you. They just, yeah, you just got to be cautious. Okay? But yeah, Remic, okay, the REM part, REM, that's the REM. Okay? That's the consciousness. Okay? Your conscious. All right? And that Mick at the end, M-I-C-K, Mick, okay, if you look up the word, the origin to that, that's mock. All right? So that's a conscious mock. All right? That's why I said he carries the virus. He's the vampire, okay? He mimics your cells. All right? That's why at one point in the movie he talks about how he wants, your stories. All right? He wants your stories. He wants your music. All right? All right? That means he wants your breath. He wants your tune. All right? Your motion. Okay? To yourself. What is yourself? Okay? All right? And that's that divine energy. All right? That's that divine energy. That vamp, that's the divine energy. That's the darkness. Okay? That's the bigger picture with it. Okay? Because this deals with dark and light. This is the story of it. And there's many reflections of it. Okay? But you got to understand it beneath the surface of all these levels of stories and perspectives of what divine messages really is. Okay? Peace, peace, sis. Okay? Darkness wants your stories. It wants your tune. It wants your songs. It wants your vibrations. That's what keeps it going. Okay? It's existing. All right? Through your stories and your tune, which is your emotion. Okay? Peace, peace, sis. All right? So, yeah, Remic is that conscious mock. Okay? Your consciousness, it mocks. All right? All right? So, he wanted not only their stories, their music, he wanted the gift, the power, the talent. He wanted it all. Okay? All right? That whole art imitates life. Okay? Projective. All right? Like I said, this is a story of dark and light. Dark versus light. Okay? It's a mockery of the darkness and the great nothingness. Okay? This is where this energy is coming from. This is where this story dives deep. Okay? All right? Like I said, it's a mockery of the darkness, the great nothingness to will you in. All right? It's all to will you in. All right? Just like with the vampires, they was trying to will him in. Okay? It's a lot of people out here that does this consciousness shit. Okay? And like I said, there's a lot of trending topics. I'm just glad that the messages are getting out there some kind of way. You just have to look at it that way, right? But there's a lot of people that is imitating that energy. Okay? Those are vamps. All right? And they're draining from people. They're taking from people. Okay? Taking people energy. All right? And this builds them up. Okay? It builds them up to a way where you feel somewhere controlled. Okay? Or you have to be like 100% following this person. Okay? But the messages are getting out, right? So a lot of people, we gonna tune into a lot of stuff. So we have to be moderate of what we allow our energies to be pulled from, okay? Because a lot of people just doing stuff just to get your view, which is a pull from your energy. All right? Some same with people around. Some mean you no good, but to get all they can and drain you dry. Yeah, they get all they can and they drain you dry. It's a lot of people that do that. It's a lot of people that do it, you know. There's a lot of people that do it. Some don't mean no harm. I think they be a little just oblivious to their own demises. But there are some people that are aware of what they do, okay, and they use it to a benefit. All right. But yeah, now the red also, okay. What can I say? Hold up. Now also, represents the root, the foundation, okay. It also represents, like I said, power, passion, energy as well, and aggression. Okay? Everything has to come from the root. Even love is represented in the color red. Okay? All right? When you become aware, can tell the difference. Yeah, you can tell the difference. You definitely can tell the difference. You definitely can. You definitely can. All right? So, even like I said, the love represents red as well. Courage and even danger, okay? Destruction, all of those aspects within ourselves, those, experiences to actually, I feel, to build you up, okay? Stack, he didn't have no limits to what he would do, He wanted everything, okay? But he loved hard. He loved hard and he was a sucker for love and money. Okay? Stack was. Okay? Whereas Smoke was more, aware, conscious, okay, of how to get the money, what the money he wanted, okay? He was focused on what he really wanted and not trying to take all this chunk change and stuff like that to get to the level. He had an actual master plan, okay? Higher than what Stack had, okay? But he was more egotistical as well, okay? And he definitely was the mastermind to a lot of stuff. And also, Smoke is the one that killed their daddy, okay? Stat was the one that took the abuse. Okay? All right? So Stat will be more vulnerable. All right? And you have to be more vulnerable in your root. All right? So Stat will be more vulnerable. All right? And Smoke, which is blue, is not going to be that vulnerable at all. Okay? It takes a lot for him to break down. Okay? When he lost his daughter, he left town. Okay? He ran. All right? And he just started taking. Okay? All right? But he had to come back to his roots. All right? All right? The music that they play, okay? The music, the vampire Remick wanted the music, okay? He wanted Sammy, to wheel in more people, more vulnerable people, okay? By using Sammy for his music. All right? Yeah, I always got to come back to your roots. All right? He wanted to use Sammy for his tunes. All right? His powerful voice. Okay? The way he sings and the way he plays the guitar. All right? basically brings chills to one's body. All right? Raising your vibration. Okay? And with you being so raised at your vibration like that, you know, you might be in a good sense of energy where you might be not aware of your surroundings. Okay? So he wanted to use him. Okay? Yeah, having you wide open. All right? We've talked about music. All right? The way he's able to tap in through different generations of music, past, present, and future. Right. And that just shows not just even him tapping into that, you know, the past, present, and future. It just shows how the music, even in the past, present, and the future, okay, raises our vibrations. Okay? Peace, peace, fam. Raises our vibrations. And when you're raised at such a vibration, sometimes you can be manipulated. All right? And controlled. All right? So, yeah. The music today, it raises vibrations in a different tune. Yeah, it's going to always be a part of us, good or bad. And we've talked about music before, you know, how it infiltrates one's energy, okay, one's motion, emotion. All right? Have you in a seance. All right? And some people be so far in a seance, they go out there and move in that same motion with the music. That is, what they call that? MK Ultra. Mind control. All right? When that vampire got hit in his mind, got hit in his head, okay, when Sammy hit him with his guitar, what did all the other vampires, which would represent the other cells, what did they do? The followers. All right? They started grabbing their head in the same spot he got hit in. Okay? When I tell you cell imitates cell, it's exactly what it is. It's with vibration, it's with music, it's with the tune. Okay? Mr. Elliott said music makes you lose control. Okay? It definitely do. Have you out there, wide open. Yep, they all grab their head. And it's just like with music today. People be so invested in these artists. You know what I'm saying? These artists is they energy vamps. They pulling your energy. All right, which is vibrate, making them high vibrational. You know what I'm saying? Which is above you. Okay, which you actually worship. Okay, you admire and all of this type of energy. Okay, and have you a lot of these cats out here imitating the same shit in the music. That's mind control. Alright? That organ will have people gone. It damn sure will. Which shows we all connected as well. Alright? It shows we all connected as well. Let me show you how even deep with this shit. Like, when Shawty, you know what I'm saying, Annie like gave them some garlic, right? to make sure they wasn't a vampire. Let me tell you how powerful this shit is and deep. Like, shawty, like, I had to research a little bit about garlic. Like, what garlic, what is its purposes? For real, for real. Okay? And I researched, and then it's good to cleanse and cures your teeth, whitening, through white, and it whitens your teeth. Okay? It cleanses, it cures, and it whitens your teeth just by eating raw garlic. Okay? Now, this is how deep this shit is, because the vibration, okay, your teeth carry information, okay? That's vibrations to your tune, your motion, okay? To your frequency, okay? And it's connected to your DNA. All right? So cleansing and curing the teeth and, whitening, like really burning it, because I heard eating that raw garlic makes it makes your mouth, it's hot. So it's obviously like burning your mouth, okay? All right? So that's a form of cleansing, okay? And to make sure that you're not an energy vamp, okay? That you're not a vampire in here to try to suck me dry, in here to try to hold me back or hold me down, okay? Like, I don't need all those distractions, okay? Even when it comes to your own thoughts, like I said, being vamps, energy vamps, okay? Not only carries and plays out in the physical matter, it plays right in your mind as well. Okay, that wisdom teeth, yes, for a reason. All right. All right. So, that right there shows, shows some shit too with the garlic, cleansing, making sure, there's no energy vamps. All right. Everybody in here, good cells. All right. We don't have the virus. All right. We're in tune. Like they said, the ones that's outside, the vampires, their soul is trapped, meaning they are dead. Okay? All right? Yep, music does connect us more ways than one another. All right? Their souls are trapped. All right? Your souls are trapped when you're not facing yourself. Okay? Yeah, I looked up the Hank's word too, as the old folks would say, like you was telling me yesterday. I looked up the word. Let me see, and I put it in my notes. Yeah, it actually is a coil of skin of yarn, hair, rope, or other material. Okay, but there are other similar words that stuck out to me, like loop, or twist. Okay, or shock. Also curl. All right, a lock. Okay. So to be calling folks Hanks, those Hanks out there, to me, I took it as those people are caught up in the loop. Okay. All right. The loop of their own consciousness, where that coil and all of that exists on top of the head of the human. Okay. All right. All right. But the music that Remick wanted from Sammy, it would change the tune. All right, it would change faith. It would change yourself. Okay, it would change. All right, we have to change our vibration, our frequencies. All right. They talk about death in it, like I said, outside, those are trapped. Their souls are trapped. But death can definitely represent completely that rebirth. All right. And the reason they're trapped is because they're keeping their self trapped. All right. Don't want to die. Die is not a physical thing. It's every time you transition or transform, or you actually elevating your life, or your mind changes, or the way you do things changes. Okay? You evolve. All right? Speaking of the dark, they could only walk in the dark and not in the light. Right. They can only walk in the dark. And the only way that you're able to face those that's in the dark, which are the ones that are dead, right? And the ones that was in the house, they was in the light. Okay? So, and they can be in the sunlight. Right? So, the only way you can face your darkness is you have to shine light on it. All right? And once you shine light on it, once you face it, okay, that mirror, you face that reflection, all right, it does burn, okay? Turns into ashes to ashes, dust to dust, all right? And then we move on. But yeah, they was aware of everything because they was in the dark. And that's darkness. Darkness, it knows everything, okay? It's connected to all. Everything outside of it. Everything came from darkness. So it knows everything. Everything is hidden in the darkness. All right? Your internal dark self is aware of everything and every thought, every emotion. Okay? Even before you move. Okay? Yeah, darkness is source. It's the great, it's the nothing, it's the all. Okay? The darkness is the first light. Right. That's true. Light comes from it. Exactly. Darkness created a rebirth. All right? So this movie is definitely deep with when it comes to oneself, when it comes to yourself. All right? Um, let's see. Even the word sinner, okay? It has a origin, a definition of it as well. But an origin which means one who breaks the divine law, one who offends God. Now, when I read this, my take on sinners, okay, has, like I've always said from the beginning, that sin is completely nothing but this skin. Okay, this is against divine law. Okay, divine law lines behind the skin. All right, anything outside of it, okay, is offend. It is against divinity. Okay, it is an illusion. Okay, it's not real. Okay, it is actually an agent, or a non-Christian, or an artificial intelligence, or an illusion. Okay. Okay. If you look up sin and just get the origin of sin, there is to commit sin or transgress. Okay? Transgress really stuck out to me. So from that, I went to see what transgress is a lot deeper, and it's infringe or go beyond the bounds of a moral principle or other established standard of behavior. So that's beyond the suit. Okay? All right? All right? So it's a sin, okay, to go beyond the bounds, okay, of this principle of this suit, okay, which is the sin, which is the skin, okay. Hold up. Oh, I'm going on vampire. I'm trying to make sure. I'm missing it. I gotta go out this other one, get this other stack. Peace, peace to everybody. The dead also is those that choose to not come online. Yeah, they reject it. They choose codependency over independency, saving oneself. That's so true. That is so true. They all wanted, what I wanted to say also with that, the vampires too, because they wanted this whole one love, unity, all being able to coexist, you know, type of energy. Okay? All right? Which is so divine law. Okay? Which is so beyond this existence. All right? To what it is. Okay? Um, I'm looking for this word. Vampire. Mm, okay. Also, with this vampire word, this is what I want to add to it too. There is some information on it when it comes to the origin of how it was used. But it indicates being dishonest, and one who stole or cheated through trickery. Okay? All right? I also want to show y'all a video to what sin really is. Also, even though it is represented as the skin, okay, this experience, all right, but this sin also deals with vibration as well, okay. All right, let me pin this so I won't forget, because definitely they were in there as well. All right, but what sin really is when it deals with vibration, the angle and triangle as well. I gotta find my damn YouTube. Hold up, I thought I had it pulled up, y'all. But while I'm looking this up, I can talk about the Indians. The Indians definitely was looking for Remick, okay? And what I gained from that is, some colonizing energy, okay? One that takes, all right? Infiltrates, um, you know, enslaves, so, that whole representation of, colonizing one's energy, okay? All right. And they had the Indians looking for him, which also lets me know, dealing with the land and the Indians and, the Caucasian and the black people at this time, they all were like living, coexisting together, right? But the Indian realized that, you know, Remick was trying to colonize, okay, with this whole virus, okay, of changing the tune, okay, in many people by getting them infected, okay, to be a vampire, to become a vampire, getting his whole tribe together. And they was trying to stop him, okay? And in history itself, that happened at one time, okay? It definitely happened. And it definitely shows who was in control of the land as well at that time. All right? Okay? It definitely shows who was running from who at that time. All right? So it's a lot of hidden gems, hidden um, history facts, that goes back, dealing with information, of who was here first and all of this. It definitely stuck out. Okay? It definitely stuck out. All right? So if y'all didn't peep that, yeah, they definitely, yeah. The indigenous people was definitely, okay, over the land. They was definitely looking for him, okay? They realized they had somebody that was trying to infiltrate, okay? He definitely was scared of them, honey. All right? He was trying to get away. And he was definitely trying to build an army, okay? And who did he build an army with? Also historical facts. Who did he build an army with? Because all of them was up under the juke joint, okay? Okay? Trying to be over everything, okay? Us. Exactly, us. Mm-hmm. Okay, a whole nother tribe. All right? A whole nother tribe. But yeah. Mm-hmm. But like I said, there is um some information I found out dealing with sin as well. And yes, this is even in mathematics, science information. And I definitely want y'all to check it out. It's not really a lot to show, just a couple minutes. Here we go. I gotta put it. Do I got it on? Let me go to 12 right quick.
Three is the opposite side.
All right.
That are at an angle and tell you how much you have in each direction.
Turn
That's
this
what
up.
they're for. So the mathematical definition of what the sine.
All right. I want y'all to tell me what you see when he explains this, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Couldn't have done it without us. They definitely couldn't have done it without us. And it definitely goes back to yourself, okay? And he definitely kept saying we can be one, all right? Infiltrating your energy. We can be one, okay? Infiltrating your energy, okay? Infiltration of your energy can be a bad thing sometimes, okay? It won't be good all the time. If you're going to at least infiltrate my energy, let it at least raise my vibration, or, balance each other out, okay? Have boundaries in this thing. But, yeah, he definitely kept saying that, okay? And he definitely wanted to use that energy, okay, to will in more people, okay, to become vampires, to basically become zombies, all right, in the flesh, that can be manipulated and controlled. And that's even with yourself. You have to understand that when it comes to your own mental. All right? What you want to infiltrate your mind and what you don't. All right? It was all what he could gain. Hence the name. Right? Okay? 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 But yeah, let me show y'all this right here. And like I said, this is a definition and meaning to sin as well. And it has a different meaning other than what we talk about, dealing with church and dealing with this suit, okay, and this experience, but on some mathematical, scientific information. And I want y'all to see it so y'all can tell me what y'all see too, okay? But this is another angle on what sin is, all right?
Numbers are what's important here, okay? So if I want to split the 5 Newton force
And
into a
peep how
horizontal
he
piece and a
spell
vertical
it.
piece, I need two different functions. One of them is called the sine function, and one of them is called the cosine function. One of these things tells me how much of this force is in the horizontal direction, and the other of these functions tells us how much of this force.
Look at the sin
exists in the
symbol.
vertical
Look at the
direction.
symbol.
That is what sine and cosine are for. They are there to break apart things that are at an angle and tell you how much you have in each direction. That's what they're for. So the mathematical definition of what the sine of this angle theta is the following. It's the opposite side of this triangle, the opposite, over the hypotenuse. So HYP means hypotenuse. So what it means is it's the opposite side of the triangle. If this is the angle here in question, the opposite side to this angle is the side with 3. And the adjacent side to the hypotenuse
Look
is
at the
hypotenuse
box.
of the triangle. It's the 5. So if
Connected to the person, this your box,
the sine
and this
of this
is
angle here, I'll write it right
the angle,
underneath. I don't know
okay?
what the angle is, but the sine of this angle is defined to be the different sides of this triangle dividing here. 3 is the opposite side, and the hypotenuse is 5, so it's 3/5. This is a number that I can put in my calculator.
Okay.
Right?
Now I'm
and
going to
what
pause
this is
this.
telling me is that the sine of the angle is really the ratio of how much of this force exists in the vertical direction divided by how much total force So you see what the sign function
You
is?
see what I'm saying? Force. Force, force, force. Okay? Force. Your energy. Okay? Your vibration, your frequency, your breath. Okay? Your spirit. Okay? When you're dancing, you're in tune. You're so in tune into your spirit, your soul. Okay? And music makes the soul move. All right. And it gets deep into your spirit, right? And the spirit makes you move. Okay. It gives you motion. Whether you speaking, you're crying, you're shouting, you're dancing. Okay. You get into this whole vibe, this vibration. Okay. That is your outer, okay, force. Okay. Which is, like he said, the sin. All right? Force is greater than. Yeah, force is greater than. May the force be with you. Okay? One of Bobby Hemmitt's greatest quotes. All right? Your force, okay, is deeply connected to the source. All right? It's a reflection of the source. Okay? All right? Let's see. So when they're talking about these sinners, okay, common denominator. Oh, all right. Okay, the common denominator. You see, when he said the force vertically coming from within, where did that vertical energy come from? From within. That force. All right, to the force, coming out. Darkness is the vampire. Okay? It takes everything. All right? We're all vampires. We're all sinners in this bitch. Okay? All right? Remember, Christ died for your sins. That's your Christ conscience, your mind. Okay? All right? It dies for your motion, your force. We all have a choice. Just hope to choose the right one. Right. We all have a choice. You have a choice. You all have a choice. And there's always signs to your choices. Okay? Just like with Annie, okay? And Smoke coming back to his roots. All right? He had to face his reflection of understanding, the transition of his daughter's death. All right? And he had to face Annie again. Yes, we fell from a high vibration divine realm to this dense, which is called the matter. Exactly. And I have a whole live coming on matter. We got a whole live coming on matter. Okay, exposing matter. Okay, exposing it. I definitely got a whole live on that. We definitely got to talk about it, bro. The falling ones, exactly, which is us. Okay. When you when you came, you also came in an angel. Okay. An angel or angle. in an angle. Okay? That soft spot that we all have, this is also why the energy vamps can see the light within you. Exactly. Exactly. We can all see the light within each other, especially if one is bright, light is really beaming. Okay? And you're like, oh, you glowing today. Okay? I see your glow, your soul glow. All right? It's high vibrations. I was just about to say this is he was in both dimensions at the same time. Exactly. Genesis, get out of here. She wants y'all to see her so bad. Girl, come and say hey so you can get out from behind my chair. Come on here. Put that back. Leave it alone. Okay, come and say hey so you can get out of here.
Hey.
I can't see you.
Hey.
Okay. He said hey, y'all. But yeah, you know, but yeah, he was like in both dimensions at the same time. The self versus self, that's what it's about all the time. Your sin is gonna be everything that you motion. You know, it's your frequency. Things is it's your frequency. You know, it's your tune. It's your vibrations. It's your stories. It's the all. Okay, the all be all. All right. At the end, okay, like Sammy came into the church, like I said, and it started off that like did at the beginning. But Sammy going into the church, this is how deep this was. Everybody said, "Hey, Jen." She called him Elijah because she didn't like or want the smoke. He wanted to hold. He wanted to hold baby girl, but she said not until you put the cigarette out so the baby won't get any smoke. Okay, because that smoke represents energy, you know, and she don't want that type of energy on her baby. Okay, you know, I don't need that type of frequency. You know, put the smoke down. Elijah needs to come through, not smoke. Okay, smoke has got all this other shit in its energy. Okay, put it down. But even Elijah is a powerful name when it even comes to a biblical story. Okay? Eli. Okay? God. All right? Represents God. Okay? And it always takes a God to call a God. All right? Before I get to the church, but it always takes a God to call a God. Because at that moment, of course, you know, he was transitioning and, you know, into a higher frequency vibration, okay, of rebirth, all right? And in the midst of that, of course, he sees his woman, which is a goddess, a god, the mother, okay? And she's holding the daughter, the baby, all right? That is symbolic to mother and child, okay? Which is the ultimate God, all right? All right, yeah. He put the smoke down and became God. Elijah, Eli. That's why he took off the protection she gave him. Right, he was ready to let go. And when you become God, you have to let go. All right? You got to let go of all of these stimulations and that keeps you limited. You know? Keeps you trapped. All right. All right. God soaks up everything. It sucks up everything. All right. It generates it all. All right. This is a part of the frequency matter. All right. Dealing with our existence. This existence. And he was definitely ready to let go. And you have to be ready to let go. All right. Yep. You have to believe in yourself at the end. All right. And that's also stepping out on faith and having faith. Okay. That's surrendering to yourself, oneself. All right. Trusting in yourself and believing in yourself. All right. To just let go. Knowing everything is going to be all right at the end. But Sammy ends up going back to church, like I said. And before he went back to church, you know, at the beginning it starts with him going into the church and he got the part of the, you know, the guitar or whatever, whatnot. And he's covered in blood, all right? He done went through a scene, okay? But at the beginning of the movie, you know, he had promised his dad that he would help him with the sermon that Sunday, okay? Now, it's a good old Saturday that he's going out, okay? All right, letting go and letting God, all right? And he left on a good old Saturday, okay? Saturday dealing with the Saturn, dealing with that consciousness, all right? All right? So that right there was also a key when it comes to dealing with one's mindset and one's mind, okay? And he promised it to, you know, his daddy at the church, okay? Because the church also resides within the mind, okay? It's between your temples, all right? It's where you go and pray. It's where you pray, okay? It's the whole pyramid to yourself, okay? All right? Into your church, into your mind, all right? And he promised y'all will come back and help with the sermon, all right? Play some high tunes to get the, you know, the congregation going, all right? All right, that's the whole regeneration of self. All right. So when he comes back at the end and he's at the end of the church, he's at the church and he's covered in blood. Okay. He still got the guitar, the handle. All right. He's scarred. Okay. And just like many of our testimonies, we go through fucking the fire. We go through the mud. We go through it all. All right? Okay? Just before we begin to regenerate ourselves. And it's all about the tug of war, letting go. Okay? All right? So, he in the church, which is going back into the mind of Christ's consciousness, like I said. Okay? He represents the consciousness. All right? Freaked out of his mind. Okay? Done been through the storm and rain. But we make it every time, okay? Go through some scary some scary nightmares, okay, in our lives. Just nightmares, okay? Ongoing nightmares too, okay? Monsters, vampires, crypt walkers, the dead, okay? All of these things in the darkness, okay? In your valley, that you walk through. And you got to walk through it because that's the only way you're going to get to the other side. Okay? All right? Which is a whole rebirth in oneself. All right? And even in today's existence, Hanks, okay, Hanks, even in today's existence, all right, this whole shebang of this world, all right, that's the type of energy it's on. That's what it's vibrating on. That's the motion of it right now. Okay, yeah, this whole resurrection energy, okay? All right? And it's definitely the type of energy we're motioning in. All right? That's what the divine message is. Basically, to get right with yourself, trust in yourself, okay? And know that you're going to go through, okay? You're going to go through it, all right? But you got to keep fighting, all right? You got to stay focused on it, okay? You can't let the little vamps in your mind, suck your little energy, your thoughts, your motivation, your high vibrations. You can't let them thoughts, suck you out. Okay? And you can't let other people do it either. All right? If it's something that you don't want to do, don't do it. Okay? All right? So, he went through the fire. He went through it all. Okay? He went through a nightmare. All right? And even with nightmare, that deals with darkness and mare is mother. Okay? The only way you going to elevate, the only way you going to evolve, and the only way you're going to shift into your greatest versions of yourself, okay? Or any type of greatness within yourself. All right? High vibrations. You have to go through the darkness. All right? You have to go through those dark days, those dark stages. All right? You have to reflect on things. You have to heal. Yep, he had to go through darkness to find his true self. All right? He didn't want to be like his daddy. He didn't want to be a pastor. Okay? A lot of people out here living other people's dreams. It ain't even your dream. It's not even your story. Yeah, his daddy warned him that this was going to happen. And that's just like most parents. All of us, we're going to always warn our children. Okay? Because we don't went there. We don't done it. Right? And he knew, playing at these juke joints and people sweat, like he said, all them people sweating on each other. He knew it was going to be some nasty, ratchet, energy vamp type of, situation shit going on. Some infiltration of your soul, your spirit, okay, your energy. He knew it was going to go down, okay? The juke joint represents, matter of fact, I think I found the word juke. The origin to that. Because, baby, the juke joint is just what it is. Okay? Our parents done been to the juke. You done probably been to the juke. All right? you know, I can't find the word. Hold up. I can't find it, but I thought I had. I know I got it in here. It's just got so many files I have. So many files I have. Oh, I definitely got to come back to that one. Okay. Um. Oh, here you go. Juke deals with the gullah word as well. Okay, it means juke, or it means wicked, disorderly, rowdy as well. But it is a gullah word. Okay, and Creole influenced by the African languages. Okay, so we got a lot of juke joints. Uncomfortable in their situation because you're not being you're not being tired to self. That's why he couldn't let go. Right. He couldn't let go. We know joint is to come together. Yeah, joint is definitely to come together. Yeah, many a times. Okay, you done been to the juke joint, bro. Done been. Okay, we done been to the holes in the wall of juke joints, okay? And it's definitely wicked and disorderly and rowdy in the motherfuckers. You can't say it ain't. Okay? And that's just that energy, okay? Dealing with divinity or divine energy, okay? All right? And it's always established around black motherfuckers, okay? Black people, okay? Well, we gather to socialize and dance, okay? Be in tune, be in unison, have high vibrations, okay? Sweating, all right? Connecting with one's energy. We doing all of that in a juke joint. Okay, meant true to self. Oh, okay. Because he wasn't being true to himself. That's why he couldn't let go. Right, that's why he couldn't let go, because he wasn't being true to himself. But yeah, okay, and joint is definitely going to be, together. All right? We join. All right, well, we join. Okay? There is, and I got a couple more of this, and then I'm getting out of here. But there is also a lot of scriptures in the Bible that pertain to sin. Okay, and now that we know that sin, okay, is basically everything that we, all right, that we, okay, think, thought into this reality. Okay. Even with this dealing with the sin, everything in this experience, okay? All right. So I found one of the verses that deals with sin as well. Like I said, it's many Bible scriptures that have sin in it. All right. But this one is 1 Peter 3:18, and it's for Christ also hath once suffered for sins. Okay? Christ being your consciousness. Okay? Christ being your consciousness. Okay? All right? For Christ, okay, or for consciousness, also has once suffered from sins. Okay? Your vibrations now. The just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God. Being put to death in the flesh, okay? Being put to death in the flesh, okay? This is body they talking about also, okay? But quickened by the Spirit, which is the breath, all right? So this also goes back to the representation of sin dealing with the suit, okay? Being put to death in the flesh, all right? All right, that's that consciousness suffering for the sin, all right? For our sins, these skins, these bodies, these unjustly formation, not formation, but unjustly bodies, right? Okay, illusions, all right, that is against divine law, all right? That's the outward. So even with the video I showed y'all, with the man showing you the dynamic, the diagram dealing with the problems, sin being in math, okay? And showing it scientifically how it operates in this angle, which is also the same thing with the triangle, okay? Because even if you look up sin, it also has a connection to the triangle and angle, okay? And that goes to back like what I was saying before. I've said before, dealing with everything you point in your direction, okay, becomes your center point, okay, becomes the center point to your angles, your triangle, all right? And the sin was in the middle of that triangle, okay? And it's the force, okay, that it projects in this outward opposite position or world, okay? All right, so everything, we are all sinners. We are sin. Thoughts is sin, okay? The body is sin. Uh, your mind can be, infiltrated with vampires, okay? Those vamps, those thoughts, all right? All right, we're all vampires, okay? We all infiltrate one's energy. We all pull from one's energy, okay? But you have to have boundaries, okay? You have to have boundaries. As much as Sammy Daddy wanted him to drop that guitar, okay? The handle he had left, okay? He could not, okay? Because that would mean he was not being true to himself, all right? Even though he went through hell, okay? It on lost people, in the midst of him coming out as an artist, right? Okay, with his instrument, his tune, all right? He couldn't let go of that guitar because that is a representation of him being true to himself. All right, his motion, his frequency, his vibration, his tune, his music. Okay, him beating the drums to his own beats. Okay, all right, he was not going to be what his father wanted him to be, and that's why that movie ended the way it did, representing being dedicated to, I forgot the man's name, at the end of the movie, where they said that this movie was pretty much a replica of his story, as him as an artist. So but in the end, he knows it was divine timing while standing in the holy place. Yeah, it was divine timing. Okay, about time. Okay, about time. All right. It was divine timing, okay? And he was definitely in a church, all right? And the church is definitely connected to your consciousness. It's connected to your mind, all right? All right? Let me make sure there's nothing else I got on here. For I wanted to, yeah. Hold up. There was a quote that I heard somebody say, and I can't remember where I heard it from. But the quote was pretty much like, you have to fall in love with your adversity, okay? And dealing with adversity, there's going to be two sides. There's going to be an opposite to everything. Okay, that duality, as they speak of. Most would have gave themselves over to the church, but he understood this was about self, and it's something he had to do for self, not his daddy. Fat, sis. Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Right. He knew he had to stand on his own 2 feet. He had to do it for him. It was about him. It wasn't his journey. It wasn't his father's journey. It was his journey. All right. And he had to find himself as a man. And he found what he wanted to do. He carried it out still. Okay, he became a musician. He still played in the juke joints. He didn't let that one situation scare him and stop him. Okay, where most people would have stopped right there and been stuck, like they said, stuck souls in the body, the dead. All right. And there's a lot of people with that worship this music. All right, souls stuck in the body. They dead. Okay. Out here taking, it's so many countless lives is being taken, as well. And that's just a reflection of a person, and their inner self. You every time you take a life, you're taking a piece of you. That's you, right? So it's just like, this music, it just amplifies it. And a lot of people become trapped to it. That's why they call it trap music. All right, drill music. You're in formation. You in drill. All right, you're a soldier to the drill. All right, to the music. All right, to the illusions. All right. So yeah, you just got to be you got to be careful with your attunement. The church can be another form of a vamp. Yes, the church definitely can be another form of vamp. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It sure can. Anything out here that takes from your energy is a vamp. Your job is a form of a vampire. It sucks you dry all the time. Uh-huh. Yeah. And they changed the frequency of the music, which a lot of people don't know. Yeah, they changed the frequency of the music. All right. Yeah, a lot of people are not aware of that. But changing that tune, all right. Yeah, people, places, and things. Right. Vampires, people, places, and things. All right. Yeah, but changing that frequency, you know, to a certain vibration, and you being an energy being, you know, as well, all right, and you carry energy.
You wait.
Just think about like what that does to your energy, your motion. All right. Especially, like I said, if you don't have a strong mind. You can be in tune with a lot of stuff. You can be in tune with violence. All right, and you can see it for entertainment, or you can see it for what it is. But as long as it doesn't infiltrate you in your emotions, all right, where it takes away, okay, what you're supposed to be focusing on when it comes to self and moving and elevating and all of that good stuff, making self happy. When it becomes too much to bear, okay, all right, then that's when it becomes a vampire to your reality. So that music, really changed the vibration. They changed the vibrations to a lower vibration. And when it's in a lower vibration, it's very destructive. But destruction, knowing the science with destruction can be a reconstruct. It's very beneficial. All right? But also understand what is the reconstruct. Who are really benefiting from the reconstruct? If they're really using your energy for destruction. Who is benefiting off of your reconstruct? The original frequency of the music was 432 hertz. Was universal, now it's 440, which is scattered. Very staticky. Very staticky. Jenny, put that back. Put it back. But yeah. See, the power of one's mind and frequency, energy. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Using your destruction energy, destruction vibration. All right. Using that destruction vibration. All right. In these low poverty places, low end income places. The hoods, as we say, bad neighborhoods. They just don't look clean, right? They're in destruction. They're in hell, and that's the frequency that's being carried in that space, and it's used, and it's carried out through music, movies. But if your mind, your conscience is not strong enough and aware of it, you can be manipulated and controlled into that energy. That's infiltration. That's being colonized. That's being enslaved. All right? And then they become beneficial. Then it's beneficial to the one in control of your mind. Your self-destruction. It's very beneficial to the one that is in control of your mind. Okay? So you got to be very alert and aware when it comes to this. Like, I can dive into music and I can enjoy the tune. Sometimes it be getting me a little too overbearing with the lyrics. But if it's a good tune and it's a nice little hook, I can vibe to it, Something that won't distract me and, shift my energy into some bullshit, right? But I wouldn't, because my mind is stronger than that. But, for one that's not, it can infiltrate their energy and make them into some type of mad person or change their whole mood, That's why when us women, we going through shit, we listen to R&B, soul music, okay? The shit that's gonna make you cry, the shit that's gonna make you reflect on some shit, the shit that's gonna probably make you get rid of some shit. All right? All right? But definitely, Sinners was definitely a good one. It was a must watch. Like I said, y'all have to watch it if you haven't watched it. It's a real good one. A lot of symbolism, a lot of hidden messages, really surface messages. But a lot of symbolism in the movie, which actually gives you your divine message, you know. All right? You're going to go through hell. It's going to be draining. Okay? You're gonna be drained. All right? You're going to be drained so bad that you're going to have to get down on bended knees, and you're going to have to surrender into the church of yourself, baby. And you're going to have to stand on, okay, what you want to do. All right? And you have to stand on moving, you know, in the direction, in the motion that you want to stand in. All right? And you got to put all of that also in the church, of the awareness in the church. Okay? But yeah, sometimes you have to go through it. All right? Because no matter how much his daddy told him not to, and what he was going to gain through playing music, all right? Music brings out the good, it brings out the bad. It brings out the evil, it brings out, you know, the angels, or, you know, the holy. All right? It's just like the laws of attraction when it comes to your energy. When you're high vibrating, you attract low vibrational. All right? And that can be people, places, and things. That can be your thoughts. All right? And when you low vibrational, it can definitely bring you can be attracted to high vibrational people, and you can definitely get high vibrational thoughts. Okay? You can see high vibrational things in people, places, and things. You know, things that's gonna evolve your energy, keep you to, you know, to rise up out of your low vibrations. All right? It's the exchange of energy, divine law. And that's what that movie actually showed. All right? I know people are going to talk about the whole KKK shit and the slavery and all of that. But those are type of things that you have to let go of. All right? They keep your soul stuck. All right? It keeps your energy in a loop. All right? So those are type of things that you have to let go of. And it showed it in everybody's story. Okay? Everybody's story. Everybody had something going on in their situation, and each character had something going on. Okay? What's the girl that performed on the stage? What was her name? What was her name? But, you know, she wasn't happy in her marriage, right? She wasn't happy. And neither was Mary. She didn't even want to be black. I mean, white. She wanted to be black, which a lot of people are not even comfortable in their own skin. Okay? And sometimes, most likely, the reason why they're not comfortable in their own skin is because they don't like the stimulation. Okay? All right? And the examples that they have seen in their own skin is not pretty. And they don't want to be a reminder of that. They don't want to be a symbol of that. Okay? All right? They don't want to be racial profiled. Okay? It's that. Pearline, okay? Pearline was not happy. All right? Stacks. He was all about money, but he was hurt. Okay? He had a lot of trauma in the roots, the foundation. Okay? From abuse. Okay, girl, just go. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Hey.
I didn't want it. All right, from abuse, Mary was forced to be in her marriage. Yeah, she was forced to be in her marriage. You know what I'm saying? And that's even like with the stimulation today. A lot of people, want to be married and all of this shit because of the whole, stimulation, the whole program of marriage. Okay? And it's a tradition. And a lot of people are forced in these marriages. Okay? Definitely by her parents. Okay? All right? Cornbread still worked on the plantation. I mean, plantation, we said it before, it ain't nothing but a job. Okay? It was nothing but a job. Okay? It was a job. All right? They got paid pennies. That's why it's called slave. They were slaving their ass for pennies. Okay? Now they have to hype the story up to make it seem superior. Okay? And they have to act in these actions eventually. All right? But, okay, and that's with the whole KKK narrative, the organization. Okay? Their whole thing is to infiltrate. Okay? On your faith, your religion, okay? Your livelihood, all right? Your identity, all right? Okay? And Smoke definitely was, he was the breath, the spirit, okay? The energy, okay? Smoke and Stack worked for Mary Mom on the plantation. Yeah, and they did work for Mary Mom on the plantation, okay? They sure did, okay? And a lot of things went down on the plantation, okay? With a lot of these bosses, okay? Or like they say, master, my lord, okay? A lot went on these plantations, okay? As we can see, Mary was messing with Stack, okay? And Stack was just stacking everything he can get, okay? Every little piece of a connection he can get, Stack was getting it. He was stacking it. That's the root, all right? All right? Even the idea, okay? He had a lot of ideas and he brought a lot to the table. Where Smoke is the one that just, he was the wind, he was the air, he was the motion, he was the spirit, he was the breath. All right? And he, I think I told y'all Smoke was the one that killed their daddy. Okay, so, they all faced some trauma. And Smoke lost his daughter too, okay, when she was a baby. So they always facing some type of situation, some type of trauma, some type of problem, okay? And they had to face it. All right? She provided room and board. That's how Mary met them and fell in love with Stack. Her daddy was half black. Right. Right. That's true. That's why she wanted to be her true self. She knew she didn't belong. Right? She knew she didn't belong. She knew she didn't. But that's what I said. A lot of things went down on that plantation. Okay? A lot went down on the plantation. But yeah, it was all about, it's all about, Sinners is all about, the story of oneself. Jason. The story of oneself. It deals with your physical and your spiritual side, divinity, It deals with the signs, to your emotions, to your vibrations, okay? The things that you attract in your higher vibrations, in your lower vibrations. Mary Mama was dipping in the hot chocolate too. She definitely was. Okay? She definitely was. Okay? A lot of times that was the situation. A lot of times that was the situation. All right? Music is also, and I'm gonna get out of here. Music is also symbolic for vibration and the soul, okay, because music moves the soul, and that soul is also a representation of light. All right, even if you look up the word soul, I think the origin is light as well. So that's your vibration, okay. It moves your soul, it moves your light. That's that dark and light, okay. All right, it's all about you. It's all about your motion, your vibration, your frequency. It's all about your energy, okay? And you got to be careful with these vamps. All right, these vamps, man, they be trying to suck you dry. Okay, they be trying to stop you. Okay. All right, girl, if you don't put that down. But yeah, y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here. I'll be back. Like I said, I was talking about matter earlier. I definitely got something about exposing dark, matter. So I'm gonna come back with that. And yeah, we're just gonna go from there. But other than that, y'all, if you haven't seen the movie Centers, go see it. It's a must see. Like it's a good movie, okay? And tell me what you get, when you do see it, Let me know what you get, what you thought about the movie. And yeah. But as always, y'all, love, peace, and oneness. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.